Hey Archerfish Tank, today I'm going to show you how to make this origami archerfish. Isn't that cool? Now, if you make it out of wax paper, it actually shoots water. I'll show you. When I was 14 years old, my parents got me an origami book, and I loved it. I've loved folding paper and origami ever since. And I figured that since I have an Archerfish Tank channel, I could make an Archerfish origami episode. So I created this model of an origami archerfish. And it doesn't just look like an archerfish, it can spit like an archerfish too. There's a hole in the front, and the whole body is a enclosed chamber, so you can fill it with water and then squeeze it to shoot that water out. Not quite as good as a real archerfish, but still pretty darn amazing. Being made out of paper is a problem. Look at the soggy, wet, one-time use I get out of this thing. Which is why I made one out of wax paper. I get multiple uses out of my wax paper origami fish. Just making something out of origami in the first place is fantastic. It's amazing, and it blows your friends' minds when they see what a piece of paper can become. But to make it functional, to make it actually shoot water like a real archerfish, I think it's just fantastic. I love it. And of course, the episode won't be complete without a demonstration from the real thing. Look at these guys. Beautiful. This, of course, inspired me to let my paper archerfish try shooting down a paper cricket. Didn't work on the first try. Didn't work on the second try. Or the third or the fourth. But eventually, I did manage to get it to work. And I think you're going to need to see it in super slow motion. What a fun episode this has been to make. I really enjoyed making and playing with the origami archerfish. For the rest of this video, I'm going to show you how to make one yourself. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Hit the pause button as much as you need to while we go through building it. And if you're not interested in building one yourself, then you're done. Thanks so much for watching. Okay, so what's going on here is just getting ready to show you how to make the archerfish. I'm starting with a rectangle piece of paper, and it needs to be square, so this is just a technique to make a regular piece of paper into a square. You fold it diagonally from one corner, and then fold up at a right angle the rectangular tab part, and tear that off, and you're right at the diagonal, and you're left with a square piece of paper. So that's what you need to do if you're just starting with a regular piece of paper. The square already has one crease in it, so we want to just turn it and fold it diagonally again so we get two diagonal creases. Then flip the paper over and fold it in half in a rectangle, and do it again so that you get folds from corner to corner and edge to edge opposite of each other. If you do that, you can just flip the paper over and pull it into this triangle with 4 points. That's what we want. Remember to pause, rewind, and replay these parts as often as needed to keep up. The next step is to take one of the sharp corners and fold it up point to point to the top and crease it. Then unfold it. That crease is really important. You run the edge of the next corner along that crease. That fold creates a guideline that we'll use to sink the top. So right along the guideline edge, we fold down the top and unfold everything. And then we're going to sink the top right along that crease. To do that, you have to open up the whole paper and reverse the folds so that they all push the top in a downward direction. So that the top of the paper, when we fold it back into a triangle, the top is stuck down into the body of the triangle. Once you get to this point, it's important to orient the whole model properly. On one side, it's fresh and clean. On the other side, there are the old creases that we made. So we want to start there on the side with the creases. One of the creases makes a really narrow line, and the other one is like a 45-degree angle. And that 45-degree angle side is what we want to work with. We're just going to flip the whole page over like a book and flip back the other side so that the creases are together on one side and the straight, clean ones are together on the other side. Now that you have it oriented properly, we'll continue by folding up that side right along the center line. It reverses the old crease that we made, and then duplicate that on the other side. It should look just like this. Now we need to reorient the model again, so we will do that thing where we flip the pages of a book on the front and also on the back. And then when we hold it up, we can see what will become the tail of the fish. Make half of the tail by taking the top little corner piece and folding it down so its edge runs right along the edge of the main body of the model. And then you want to, right on the back corner, like a pivot, you want to fold it up. The key to doing that is watching what I'm doing, but also the key to doing that is to make the back line of the tail parallel with the back line of the body of the model. That was hard to see with the other piece of the tail in the way, so let me get it out of the way. And now you can see how we have folded the tail down and back up again to form this shape. That's what you want to make. Now this next part is optional. It's a little difficult if you're a beginner, but it does make the model look a lot better. We're going to open up the inside of the corner and reverse two of the folds so that the folding down and back up happens on the inside of the two, so it looks the same from both sides. So instead of just folded over with a kink, you get this nice looking tail fin. That's optional. If you want to try it and do it, that's great. If you can't, it'll work fine without it. So here we have half of the tail done. We're going to make the other half simply by folding the other side down and making its tail parallel to the body of the fish, and so that it runs right along with the other tail. Now this is a little bit tricky. You have to make the fold inside the body of the fish. You can't just fold it up to the edge. So go ahead and just pull that down so that it makes the shape that you're looking for. Now we're going to do another optional fold. If you're a beginner, you can just leave the tail the way it is. You can be done with the tail at this point. But if you want to make it look just a little bit nicer, then you can pull that tail out and reverse it so that both of the folds, instead of just folding it on one side, both of them are folded on the outside. And you do that by opening up the paper and flipping the tip around to the other side. Again, this is optional. The tail still looks the same. It just makes it so that that one fold looks the same on both sides, no matter which side you're looking at it. Okay, so at this point you can start to see that this is going to be a fish because it has this nice tail sticking out the back. Okay, the next thing to do is to make the pectoral fins. Those are the side fins on the fish. And we're going to do that by taking the long corners that are left and folding them down right along the edge. So we're going to match the edge of the corner with the edge of the fish and match those right together and crease that down. Then you can flip it over and do the same thing on the back. Match the edges right along the body of the fish and crease that down. It's important to orient the fish properly now. This is the correct orientation with the floppy tips on the bottom. That's the top, and the point at the front is the mouth. This is where your fish should be right now. We'll finish making the pectoral fin on one side by folding the tip all the way up to the mouth, all the way up to the nose, tip to tip, and crease that down. The next step then is to fold that tip back again to the crease that you just made, halfway between the top and the bottom, and crease that down. Then you're going to open that up and fold the tip in to the newest crease that you just made, again halfway between the top and the bottom. And once you have put that there and creased it, then you'll fold that back over again, and this forms the pectoral fin on one side of the fish. You can see the tail and the nose and the pectoral fin of the fish. It's starting to really look like a fish now. We're just going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side, folding the tip all the way up to the nose, and then in half and in half, and same thing we did on the other side. Okay, it's really taking shape now. It kind of looks like an angelfish. So to finish making it an archerfish, we have to fold down the top, and you take the tip right down to that right angle crease. You have to be a little bit firm with this because the paper doesn't want to make this fold. So you just have to put that tip right against the right angle crease, and you just push on it really hard. Same thing on the other side. Just push it down there and make that crease. What you get is this fish that has a little bit of hair on top of it. It looks kind of like a little cartoon character fish. And we're going to get rid of those by sinking them down into the body of the fish. You want to just open up the first flap and reverse the outside fold, outside crease that you made, so that it pushes that whole top down inside, and do the same thing on the other side too. Okay, very good. Now we're just going to do the same thing with the bottom part of the fish. We're going to fold that corner up following the guidelines. You just run that edge right along the edge of the pectoral fin. It makes a nice clean right angle, and you fold that up. You do the same thing on the other side, and then sink those into the body as well. Okay, there you have it. A nice flat 2D Archerfish. You could stop here if you wanted to. It looks great. If you want to just make it pop a little bit, maybe be a little bit more 3D, then you can open up the top. This is a little bit difficult, takes some trial and error and some practice, but you can open up the mouth. There's a little hole and you can blow right in there and it will blow that up like a balloon and you get this awesome 3D Archerfish. And here is the completed model. Congratulations. Again, as I said before, I loved making this episode. If you're a regular Archerfish subscriber and you liked the origami, there's more we can do. We can make some sea urchins and all kinds of different animals that are aquarium related. If you came here for the origami, I urge you to go take a look at my Archerfish videos and see if you like those as well. It's been great to have you here today. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and of course, reach outside your world. This is Archerfish Tank. Thanks for watching.